Hey everyone, this is Jeremy Mize. I'm sure you remember my friend Nate Thomas. He suggested I do and join me for the Moneyball review we did a little while back. I want to thank him again for joining me in doing another review. This will be a spoiler review on Transformers: Rise of the Beast. Thank you for joining me, Nate.
I think this sounds like perfect because you grew up with Beast Wars. You watched it. I never watched it, so I can judge the movie on what it is.
Oh, well, I can't actually remember, to be honest, if I watched it when I was little. I know I watched it, like, years before this movie came out. I just can't remember when I first, started watching it, so, that might be a little issue there. But, yeah, I watched, the Beast Wars and also, Beast Machines. This was a movie I was really looking forward to. I actually, ironically enough, well, I guess it's not ironically knowing me, but I actually know a little bit more about the Maximals and Predacons than I do about the Autobots and the Decepticons. I was more interested in the Beast Wars and the others because me and my love of animals and everything. But I still try to sometimes watch the Transformer movies that have come out, like with Optimus Prime and everything. So like this movie, even though it didn't have with the trailers and everything, it didn't like show all the Maximals in here, but like it showed like some like it almost showed like the original crew, except for Rat Trap. They switched him out with Air Razor, which I get, like to have like a flying Maximal on their side because the Autobots usually don't have many flying Transformers on their side. That's
I can name
usually
a
the
few.
yeah, like I said, it's just I guess I can understand that. It's just that, like I said, I was really looking forward to this. I was hoping like it could do a lot because Beast Wars is probably one of the best Transformer series with a lot of great characters.
Arguably the best.
Yeah, and even though it didn't have all my favorite Maximals, it had two of them, Optimus Primal and Rhinox. It didn't have all of them, and I mean the movie, like we mentioned before we started this, it's an okay movie. It's not awful. It's just that it's not what I was hoping it would be. Like the while the Maximals like had their part in it, it just felt like they seemed like almost more like background characters because they didn't have as much screen time as the Autobots or the humans.
I mean, I can tend to agree with you there. I'm going to touch on this briefly. Eraser, I think that was her name. Please correct me if I'm pronouncing that
Yeah,
wrong.
Air Razor.
Thank you. I name a character like that who's so close to the villain in Sonic and the Secret Rings. I always say Eraser because that was his name. But anyway, was she supposed to be a phoenix? I think she was, right?
I think she was supposed to be a Peregrine Falcon.
It looked more like a phoenix with a spewing fire. Maybe I'm.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. It might have been a Phoenix in this maybe, but because in the original she was a Peregrine Falcon. Like the difference here is like obviously because the Maximals in the original series are not as big as the Autobots. I mean, they're more close to the size of the actual animals they transform into, or like that's their alternate form. Uh, but here they were, about the same size as the Autobots and the Terracons. I actually, like I said before, you know more about the Terracons, like you've told me. I didn't know as much about them, but the
I know the minimals about them. I know more. Again, Transformers Cybertron was probably my first exposure to Transformers, and that was, I want to say, 04, 05 when that came out. I got into that in the middle of the series. I remember I was just flipping randomly through Cartoon Network one day, and that was just on. But actually, that's going to bring up something in the review later when talking about the Transformers characters, because I know more about a lot of the others than the Maximals like you do, so we kind of couldn't use that to our advantage a little bit.
yeah, it's like everybody has their different interests in like certain things. Like we both like Transformers. You're more into like the I guess you could say the originals. I guess maybe.
Oh, God, no. God, no.
No, I'm not talking about the movies. I meant like the Autobots and Decepticons.
Okay, I was about to say, Michael Bay.
That's my bad. No, the Bayverse is another thing, but no, I meant like the Autobots, the Decepticons, and the extension of the Terracons. While I'm more into the Maximals and Predacons, but the yeah, I was kind of it was really saddening to see that the Maximals didn't have as much of a presence here. I mean, like they had their parts here and there. We saw them for a little while having a an important role. It's just that we didn't get to know like most of the we didn't get to know like all the Maximals personally. We got more into like the some of the Autobots and the humans. I mean, I'm not saying the humans aren't important. It's just that like since this is supposed to be about Transformers, I was hoping we get more into the Transformers characters more than we have in the past, I guess.
Yeah, correct me. I think honestly you might differ from me than this, so please correct me if I'm, you know what I mean. I'm
Mhm.
stuttering tonight, guys. Leave it in the
Yeah,
comment section.
yeah, it's me too.
So the human characters in this one, I feel were kind of a step back from Bumblebee.
Well, actually, I didn't really watch, Bumblebee, to be honest, so I
I
can't say
did.
that for certain, but, I'm gonna, trust your word on that. I mean, I'm not saying these human characters weren't compelling. I mean, Noah, his family is was in a really bad place. His, brothers, got, I think, sickle cell disease, and his mom is, like, working, like, a minimum wage jobs as much as she can while going to school to, like, further, like, getting possibly better work and everything, and
We'll
Noah
get to that. Trust me.
yeah, no, it's just like he was trying to do as many like I guess you could say legal work to like try to support his family and especially his brother. It's just that they kept like they kept we saw that they kept pushing him aside, so he felt like he had no other choice but to go to theft, which he backed out on. But like I can understand that because like in some like it's just not like the most main thing we're gonna I guess like I'm gonna cover. It's just that I get why he did that and like Elena, I believe her like being like not valued like she should because she is like the actually more of the archaeologist and more of the aware of like anthropology and everything and artifacts and human civilization and but her boss was taking credit for her work but yeah, I mean, like I said, they're not uncompelling, it's just that I just wish I guess I could say, like I said, I just wish Transformers had more of a role than they did have, but
In the first one in Bumblebee, screw you, Bayverse, by the way. This movie fixed all the problems after one. I like Transformers 1 and Dark of the Moon Guy. Or, oh god, they're gonna kill me for that. I like 1 and Revenge of the Fallen. Sorry, comment section.
I mean, the first 3 are actually good in their own ways, it's just that, what came after is kinda what really fell apart, but no, I mean, like I said, like, like, the Beast Wars and everything, it got me into, like, Transformers and the Maximals and everything, I mean, like I said, we saw 2 of my favorite characters, from that, Optimus Primal and Rhinox. It was just sad we didn't get, like, to see these characters have more, roles, like, I don't think Rhinox even spoke in this movie, or at least I
I
don't
think he
remember.
got one line briefly, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Well, I guess it's just to the point, like, they didn't have as much voice lines as they should have, like, we didn't get really into their individual personalities as much. We sorta got that with the Autobots, more, and we got that sort of with the Terracons, but they were more so, kind of the same, I guess, and similar, like, personality and, like, temperament, I guess.
I hate to sound like I'm playing like devil's advocate here, but you could make the argument this is kind of like Iron Man 2, where they're setting up things for the grand finale.
Yeah, I get that, it's just that, I mean, having these, characters that I, watched, for a while, like, seeing their individual personalities and storylines and meeting their own unique bots was kind of it was a disappointment to see how they were treated in this movie. I'm not saying this isn't, like, a movie you can't enjoy or, have fun, like, there are some good moments in here, like the battle scene near the end where you see the, Autobots and the Maximals fighting against the, servants of Unicron, but I don't
Spoilers. Wait, this is a spoiler review. I don't care what you guys think.
yeah, yeah, it's, but, like, also, like, AirRaiser, like well, before we get to that, like, after they left their world, there's a lot of things to cover, like, if that was their home world, like, did it have, like, the animal life like on Earth? Because, in the show, the Maximals and Predacons are sent back into the, past, prehistoric Earth, and they,
That what
sorry, that was my
happened?
phone. Oh, it was like they were like, the, Predacons, like, stole a artifact of Cybertron, and they were trying to get away, and Optimus Prime was, like, a ship and crew with the closest, to them to, like, intercept them, but in, like, through like, this technology, can't remember exactly what it was, it's kinda like the transwarp thing that was in the movie. They got sent back through space and time to, prehistoric Earth, and that's where the whole Beast Wars was, and the, Maximals, Predacons, like got their beast forms because like there was like a lot of like unstable energon on Earth at that time, so they had to create beast forms to where they could like survive in the outside of their bases. And that's where they picked up the alternate forms of animals from the president at that time and the past. But so I was thinking, like, I was wondering, like, does this, like, they said there was their homeworld, like, where they had like the animal life, like on Earth, or like, because like they, they were on Earth for like centuries when when the Autobots and the humans met them, well, the main human characters. But I don't know how they got their beast forms like that on on another planet. I guess like that's just one of these like little tidbits. Maybe I'm putting too
No, you
much.
got a point. That honestly was never explained. I didn't even think of that till you just pointed that out.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Their designs are pretty cool. I mean, they don't look as much like the animals as they did in the original show, but their designs were still pretty good. It's just that how they got their animal forms from that planet. Like I said, maybe the life on that planet. Like I think Scarrett said it was so full of life before Unicron ate it. I guess like maybe like on maybe on that planet, maybe there's animals the same or similar to Earth in the past and present, but that's another thing.
I think it's a plot hole the more you think about it.
Yeah, and also another plot hole is, like, after, like, the Maximals escaped after, what was it, Eighth Link, the original, commander of the Maximals, we didn't get to see much of him, unfortunately, but, like, they got, like, separated, so, like, they were, like, cast, away from each other in the, on Earth because, Optimus Primal, Cheetor, and Rhinox were with that, uh, tribe for, like, centuries, and they never that was the first time they saw Airazor was when the Autobots met him. But, like, they never explained how they got separated, and unfortunately, when, I remember Optimus Primal asking Airazor about the other Maximals, and she said she was the only one who was left. So I guess that means we're not gonna see any of the other, Maximals in the future unless like, something they, change in the continuity or something. I mean, it'll be a plot hole or plot issue, but part of me still wants to see the others because, like I said, Optimus Primal and Rhinox are two of my favorites, but the other three are Silverbolt, Tigatron, and Dinobot. So I was just hoping, maybe like maybe they're like offline or something, but I don't know. It's just that it's just,
They're not gonna touch. They're not gonna touch the Dinobots again after Age of Extinction. I guarantee you that
it's
much.
just that this individual Dinobot had one of the best story arcs and best character like endings in Beast Wars, if not the whole Transformers series. I mean, he was a very popular and very memorable character.
I
I
know.
mean,
I know.
yeah,
I'm not denying that. I'm just saying though, like
right,
after
right.
how much hate Age of Extinction got, they're not gonna touch that again for at least another 10 years.
I don't know what they were thinking with that, especially with
I can tell you
how
what they
they.
were thinking. Money, 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 money.
But like I've mentioned to you before, like certain decisions will make more money if they made the characters better and more compelling. But anyways, no, the no, I was hope like I think like the in the Beast Wars, Silverbolt, he was the more, I guess you could say, more corny, like heroic character, but he was still like a
Comedic
memorable
relief.
character for like his interactions with specifically with Black Arachnia, and Tigatron being the arguably the wisest of the group for like teaching the Maximals not to like inhibit their beast instincts and urges and everything. He said like work together with them in harmony, which I think is something that's rarely seen in fiction. Like you always hear people say or push like control the beast within, like locked away, rather than like working with it in harmony. So that was something that I really liked about his character, and of course, like Dinobot and his like sacrifice. That was and his whole interactions with Rat Trap and everything. So and Rat Trap, apparently we're not going to see the snarky, sarcastic rat robot, but I guess I just unloaded a lot in there because, like I said, I was really
It was
looking forward to this movie, and like with Maximals and everything, it's just that it's kind of disappointing with what they had. I mean, they had their moments here and there. It's just not what I was hoping it would be. And the Predacons we can get into a little bit.
Yeah. So Black Arachnia was a Maximal.
She was a Maximal protoform, I think, but the I can't remember exactly. I can't remember exactly what they called it, but like like Beast Wars Megatron and Tarantulas got to her first, and like Tarantulas like turned her beast form into a Black Widow. Like,
Okay, because I'm thinking of Transformers animated logic from 2009, and she was a full-on Decepticon after she turned in that version.
gotcha. It's like this. The Beast Wars had its own unique takes and everything. So
Yeah, it got weird. It was like she turned half organic because of the spiders.
I mean, like, like with Beast Wars, like, they weren't just fully like a machine and everything. Like they were had like organic material that infused with them. Like that was a big thing in Beast Machines. Like the Maximals, Optimus Primal and his crew brought back the organic matter to Cybertron because it was originally had some organic life as well. So there's that melding of a machine and flesh that also made the Maximals more
Yeah,
more unique because like the Autobots and Decepticons, well, they're not like dull or anything. Is that they have their own stuff and everything, like with Optimus Prime,
it's
and
okay.
that's my bad. But like they have their own unique stories and their own like unique place in the universe and everything. It's just with the Maximals, them being like more advanced, I guess you could say technology or something, like they fused with like the physical, like the organic matter and everything of the beasts on Earth, and like seeing in the movie that they didn't really kind of mention that either. They seem to have some like the organic matter in them, like with air raiders, they seem to have like feathers, or maybe that was metallic, like
You can do the effect while still having it look like actual things.
yeah. It's just that, like I said, like the Maximals and everything, they were a mix of technology and and flesh, so it just made them like both as a Tigatron um, revealed and enlightened the Maximals that they're both animals and machines. So it was that unique blend and balance between what they are and what they became was really something that I was hoping like maybe eventually the movies could like could show with Tigatron, but I guess we're not going to see that.
I want to touch on this briefly. Number one, Air Rangers. I'm just gonna call her Phoenix. All right, I'm gonna
Mm.
stop annoying the comment section.
Eh, I mean, like I got the them changing things up with her because like with Optimus Primal and Cheetor and Rhinox in their beast forms, they can like physically fight in a way that's more like um I guess you could say comfortable, I guess.
Animalistic.
Well, but not, I'm not saying like Air Razor couldn't do it either without like the fire and everything, because Bird of Prey when it attacks it just can almost one shot anything. But I
Air
guess like
Razor.
adding,
Thank you.
huh?
Air Razor. Thank you.
Yeah. So, but like adding the fire, I could get like to make an addition to her character. It's just we didn't get to see a whole lot of her in this movie.
I'm gonna point this out. I think honestly her wing pattern was borrowed from Falcon from the MCU. Seriously, look at his jetpack and then look at her wings and tell me there's not some inspiration there.
Maybe. I didn't maybe I didn't realize that. Maybe I wasn't looking closely enough at it. But yeah, it could be.
Can I
The
touch briefly? Oh,
Go ahead.
can I touch briefly on the human characters again, real quick, since we
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
passed that real quickly?
Yeah. Yeah.
As
That's my
somebody who
bad.
watched Bumblebee, I loved Bumblebee because after Bayformers, as it's called, where the humans went from annoying to other stuff, which I do not want to get into, that because everyone else has pointed it out. The characters in Bumblebee were genuine. They seemed dramatic. You related to what they were going through. I get no disrespect to no. It's just like the characters were more interesting. You can make the argument it was the 80s as opposed to the 90s, and times obviously changed between then.
Mhm.
But for this one, oh god, they annoyed me sometimes. Like I remember that intern. She was an intern, by the way, the archaeologist, which is
Right.
why she didn't
Yeah,
get the
Elena.
respect.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Just the way the boss was, I'm like, can you get any more stereotypically annoying?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes with writers and everything, they, I guess, like since she was like a really minor character, they didn't really, I guess, probably put much, much into her writing and like directing for the character. So I'm not going to blame the maybe the actress. Maybe could have wanted more
No,
into
I
it.
can't
So
blame the actors for that. That's got to be the writers.
yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes the writing for certain characters isn't that good.
I think you
Um,
touched on that on Titans previously.
yeah, yeah. That's a yeah. Go watch that if you've seen the Titan show. But yeah, that was another example of a lot of poor writing. Um, but these characters, I mean, they had like some of their own like stuff. Like Elena, she was genuinely interested in anthropology and archaeology and human like civilization and history and everything. And like her her incredible intelligence and understanding of what was in front of her really made her like stand out amongst the museum because you would think that if maybe the other that lady's character was written better, she maybe could have. Well, generally in those kind of situations, you think that like someone of that kind of talent and intellect of what they're into or what they're around would really like give them a lot more what's saying like recognition maybe, but unfortunately sometimes there are people that take credit for other people's work. And Noah, like him, like going to destroy the transwarp key, like he was to protect Earth. I mean, that's considerably understandable because while you may not agree with him, not like he's as you said, he was looking out for his own, not just his brother and his mom and everything, but the entire planet. Mostly his family and humans, but like generally the planet in general, and him being willing to like destroy a key just so like a planet eating deity wouldn't like literally eat his planet. So I mean, well, it would have obviously like been heartbreaking for the Autobots if that happened. It's just that you can't totally like blame his character for like wanting to do that. I mean,
I was
obviously
siding with him, to be honest. I know that's going to make me the jerk, but I was like, are we seriously going to go through this whole cliche?
I mean, I mean, I mean, I understood him. I wasn't sure if I completely agreed with him or not, but I understood what he was thinking. I couldn't really blame him for it, but like we saw, like the growth in his like building character relationships with the Autobots, especially with Optimus Prime. We saw that development of character.
I want to say this, as particularly involving Noah and the other characters.
Hmm.
I think they accepted the whole fact that Transformers are real a little quickly, and that's given the context of the other Transformers films. Because in Bumblebee, it always took a little bit for her to understand it. I mean, granted, she understood it pretty quickly, but it was a different scenario. He goes from terrified to like talking with him and like that.
Yeah, like I said, that's probably another issue with the writing there. I mean, you like if you're doing like a human being like meets like another like intelligent being who's arguably more intelligent and powerful considering the Transformers are than humans in many different ways, but like a human being, like any just random human being, doesn't have to be like someone who like goes into like mysterious and everything. Just like the random person, like Noah was like meeting another entity, let alone a an alien who transforms who transform into cars and other vehicles. Like you said, he kind of like accepted that maybe a little too quickly, like you said. I mean, you don't
By the
obviously.
way, oh,
Mhm.
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Was Mirage really a character? Because I swear that should have been Jazz. I want to say they changed that, but I'm not 100% certain.
Well, since this is like a different universe than the Bayverse, they probably switched up some characters.
But Jazz is a recurring character pretty much in every Transformers adaptation, though. That's why I got confused.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like I said, since I don't know as much about the Autobots as the Maximals and everything. I don't have a great understanding of the Autobots as much, so I'll have to take your word for it. But I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe they wanted to do something different here.
because Jazz is almost always, with the exception of Jetfire and Cybertron, Jazz is like always Optimus is second in command, with a few rare exceptions.
Hmm. I don't know. I guess they wanted to do something different here.
A couple of cool visuals.
Yeah, like Mirage, had his own unique character. I mean, he was like a bit of a jokester and everything, but he, was, deeply caring for
Yeah.
Noah and the others. So, I mean, he wasn't a bad character. So, I think
How
he
did
was.
he survive that, by the way, when Bumblebee died? Is my question.
Uh, they he just I guess
He got shot like 5 times in the back. He got stabbed once and then shot once, and it was over.
I don't know. That's just like that's
That
probably
really
another.
annoyed me. I'm like, how come you get stabbed and shot once and you're dead? You get shot 5 times point blank range and you survive.
I guess the idea of like protecting maybe like the heroic like sacrifice or willing to sacrifice like uh, maybe
Didn't
things.
B do that too, though?
Yeah, I mean I don't know. Maybe that's just another issue with the writing there. But
Well, I mean, that scene of the trailer with Bumblebee racing with the cheetah was kind of spoiled because when he dies in the first 30 minutes, you're like, well, gee, you spoiled that emotional moment in the trailer.
and there was also the moment where we saw like Bumblebee and Noah who has the suit thanks to Mirage, you know, in the final battle. But
That was cool.
yeah, yeah, it was. It's just like you said, like some like it just showed the a little too much, I guess you could say.
That's actually a throwback to Generation 1 because they had another character who had a suit like that. I forget who it was, but that's a throwback directly to G1.
Mm. But the no, the some of the like you said, some of the writing wasn't as good as it should have been. Like the
The
uh,
villains,
yeah, they seemed kind of bland.
I showed you the original picture of Scourge. Maybe we could get
Well,
a picture of this up in post editing and all, but Scourge in the original version, he was an intimidating villain. He had depth. The thing was, he got embarrassed by Optimus and another Autobot, which is why he joined the Decepticons. It wasn't like for any, he just wanted personal gain. He wanted revenge to show he was stronger.
yeah, and you also like you said had a different form, but like I'm not saying he and the other Terracons weren't a threat because obviously the way they were able to send the Autobots running or at least go toe to toe with them, but specifically Scourge like more so like defeating Optimus with relative ease really spelled out how powerful he was. But I guess Optimus kind of got a little maybe nerfed a little too much in this movie. Like he gets sometimes more easily beaten than he should be, but or maybe you had to have a different understanding.
Here's another question because Optimus got his ass kicked in the first fight, and then the third fight, he's clearly kicking Scourge's ass. Like, what happened that we're unaware of?
Yeah, I don't know. It's the
Was he weakened by Unicron's punishment too much? Because he held his own after that perfectly fine, and now suddenly he's weak.
I don't know. It's the I guess like the issue of like building up like a character prowess and everything because
Seemed anticlimactic.
yeah, I mean the way he said like and also when Optimus said uh I can't maybe I'm not remembering this right, but maybe let me show you the power of a prime when he like ripped off Scourge's head and part of his I guess you could say neck out of his body.
I literally said in the theater, he just went Sub Zero Mortal Kombat on his ass.
Yeah, it's the like certain characters when you work with like what they're capable of in battle and everything, like trying to like push off like another character by beating him with relative ease can sometimes not always be like
That seemed a little over the top.
yeah it's because with Optimus Prime he's arguably you know he's one of the best if not the best of the warriors in the Transformer series. You know he has millions of years of battle experience. He's a capable hand-to-hand combatant with also with weapons. So like Scourge being able to beat him with relative ease, like you said, wa- wasn't wasn't that good. Sorry, there's a little stammering there.
Yeah, I think that's honestly one of my biggest problems with Scourge is that he has a good voice, he has a decent design. Although to be fair, I'm sure we'll get a picture of this up in post. He was a Hydro when transforming the original. Why is he a tow truck here?
I don't know. Maybe they wanted to like differentiate between the Terracons and the Maximals, but
Oh god, that's so intimidating coming at you. What's more intimidating? A beat up like 50 style tow truck or a Hydra?
yeah, we only have a little time left on this Zoom recording, but yeah, there is like a lot more to cover in this
Maybe
movie.
there'll be a part two. We don't know.
Yeah, there might be. It depends. We might try to do this and follow up on another point, but my friend Nate like mentioned the ending, so we should probably get to that right now.
Oh god, that you want to lead on here?
Well, with me, I'll try to do what I can. with, this, like, Noah being, like, presented the, possibility with, being a G.I. Joe is I mean, I don't know anything about the G.I. Joe, like, franchise and everything. I never really got into it, so this isn't something, like, that really meant a lot to me. Maybe it meant to
Didn't
you
make me roar in
y'all
the theater.
huh?
Didn't make me jump for joy in the theater. I'm just like, oh god, they're doing this.
I mean, maybe for some of y'all, maybe this meant a lot to you, and I'm not trying to say it's not important or
Yeah, by
anything.
no means.
Yeah, it's just to me, since I don't know really anything about G.I. Joe franchise or characters or anything, this wasn't something like with Nate that really made me really excited. So this is nothing against what you all. This is just something that I have no really expectations or hopes for, or really any understanding of what it means, because this is like I said, I haven't watched the GI Joe franchise or anything, so it's something I don't understand.
Almost sounded like an end credit thing they just decided to put in the movie.
Uh, yeah, it was like a
That was the ending. It almost seems like an end credit thing that they just stuck before the credits.
yeah, I mean, it would have worked better if it was like an end credit scene or mid credit scene, but you had the scene where like with Noah fixing up Raj with those old horse parts with that guy who like bailed on him in that a heist at
Stereotypical comedic relief.
yeah, it's
I forget his name.
I can't remember his name either. He was just a minor character. Though some minor characters have more of an impact than others. So sorry, I can't remember it, y'all. But the GI Joe, I mean, I get people like want to like cross over franchises in some ways. I mean,
They're owned
there's
by the same company.
oh well, let's see,
Yeah,
that's me not
Hasbro owns both Transformers and GI Joe.
yeah, that's me not understanding anything about that. So that's my me not knowing, but I mean, I get, like, wanting to cross over franchises with others, like they were planning to I think some people were thinking, like, they were gonna cross over the MCU with the DCEU, I think.
Don't do that ever.
Yeah, unfortunately, they, like, with, they
James
had,
Gunn.
like they had some good movies and some good characters, but, like, a lot of it was, like, really messed up or not written very well, but, that's for other videos maybe in the
Here's
future.
looking at you, Flash. Here's looking at you, Batman versus Superman.
And, Justice League where they nerfed Wonder Woman severely, but that's another thing entirely, but,
I want to
uh
say this real quick, if it's all right.
yeah, go ahead.
For this ending, maybe I'm thinking too deeply in this because I know the bare minimum about GI Joe. I saw Rise of Cobra in the theater. That's about all I know about GI Joe back in '09. Doesn't those two seem really like counterintuitive their goals? If Unicron wants to eat the planet and Cobra wants to control the planet, how will those two get along? Is my question.
I don't know, Unicron might, try to lie if they ever, join forces, but because he's stuck in another galaxy in
Yeah,
another
how are they
time,
going to pull that off?
yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, some, antagonists sometimes in fiction, like, work together in times that's they really shouldn't because they have, like, their interests do not align or, especially
It's
if, like
forced.
yeah, or if, like, antagonists have worked together but only to realize one of them, screwed the other one over just to work with them again, it's just like,
How many
some
times can you be betrayed before you get the idea to axe the guy? Is always my question with those team ups.
I don't know, it's like, there is, some of the, team-ups in, like, the Ben 10 series that didn't really work all that well or, like, they
There's
shouldn't
a
have.
couple that worked pretty decently.
Oh, yeah, some of them did, it's just that, like, one, like, in the last series that,
Which one? Define last series. Are you talking about Omniverse or?
yeah, it was like, what was that, character's name? Albedo, that, Galvin, that evil one that wanted to take the
Yeah, he
Omnitrix.
appeared in Alien Force or Ultimate Alien. He was good there.
Yeah, it's the and he teamed up with Vilgax in the last season again after he teamed up again with Vilgax and some other, like, evil, bins when Vilgax tried to, like, wipe out every other, universe except the one that didn't have an Omnitrix, and Albedo was got, got killed because of it, and he seemed to forget that or, forgave
Was
Vilgax
that
for that.
Omniverse? I remember them teaming up in Ultimate Alien.
Yeah, it's
We're,
like oh, yeah, I forgot
we're
about that
getting off
too.
topic. We're
Yeah,
getting on
yeah,
to Ben
sorry,
10
sorry. Yeah,
Transformers.
it's just another example of, like, fiction sometimes not always doing team ups very well. But
I could
like,
go with it for a Ben 10 review anytime. I love that show.
yeah, probably
Omniverse
do that
sucks, but
maybe sometime in the future. But like sometime in the future. But yeah, let's just get back to this.
all I'm gonna say on that before we touch on it is,
Yeah.
all you haters out there of Ultimate Alien, I like it. It's my favorite. Deal with it.
Eh, but yeah, the with this,
It could have
maybe
been a lot worse.
I mean, yeah, it could have been like they like the Maximals could have been like severely like background characters like the dinosaurs were in Jurassic World Dominion. Like they had like really no relevance at all except for like a beta, but not much else.
You
But
know my opinion on that one. When that movie's rated worse than Jurassic Park 3, that's telling you something.
yeah, it's just yeah, it's but yeah,
And
no, I mean the Maximals weren't as weren't treated as badly as other characters have been in franchises where literally they were supposed to be like the main focus of the film. While they had some of the focus and everything, they just
they
weren't.
become side characters.
Yeah, that's not what they should have done. Uh, you can enjoy this movie. It's just that when literally in the name of the movie, it says like or gives hints to, or not so subtly gives hints to a certain group of characters, and you make them side characters. It is not that movie is not as compelling um um or as
They seem to show more in the trailers than they did in the actual movie a lot.
yeah, like they did like they had their screen time here and for a little while. It's just they didn't have as much like value here. Like I mean, yeah, have the human characters and the Autobots and everything. Just like have the Maximals have more like screen time, delve into their personalities, like their maybe their history and everything.
Yeah.
And one thing I was really sad to see here was like didn't see any of the Predacons. Like I was hoping
We haven't
maybe
even seen Megatron yet. We haven't even really seen any of the other Decepticons.
yeah, I actually like the Beast Wars Megatron more than the Decepticon one. Like he had a lot more like personality and everything. I mean, like
There's been great designs for Megatron out there. I'm just sad he hasn't been brought in for this one in particular.
yeah, and like we didn't actually get to hear any of like the iconic lines from the Beast Wars. Like I was expecting Optimus Primal to say, "Well, that's just Prime," or like Megatron's famous like yes or no.
The
But
Beast Wars are over, Optimus. You lose.
yeah,
That's
it's
the one line I know in all of Beast Wars.
yeah, I actually started watching the Beast Wars like show again after what happened with the movie. I mean, I haven't got much into it again, but yeah, it just made me really appreciate the old show a lot. Maybe they'll do better in the future with these characters. It's just that because like apparently like killing off a bunch of them off
Give him
screen,
credit for keeping the character dead.
I don't know.
Then
It's
again, that
just
does raise a question. If Bumblebee could be brought back that same why didn't it work? Why didn't it work with her? But
I don't know. I guess maybe because Scourge corrupted her like programming and everything is just like messed up. Hey everyone, welcome to part two of the Transformers: Rise of the Beast spoiler review with my friend Nate Thomas. Okay, we got a little bit to get into. Let's see. Since we couldn't cover everything in part one, we decided to do a part two, and let's see what else we can discuss.
long story short, Zoom took a stand against our recording.
Yeah, I'll have to edit that out of the original recording when I get put this all together. Okay. Oh yeah. Going through the recording, going through the first recording, we talked about a little bit about the Maximals home planet. Um, okay, to my understanding, the home planet of the Maximals is still the home planet of the Autobots, Cybertron. Yet, obviously, the planet we saw was much different to what one would expect of it. You know, Cybertron's always really been portrayed as this giant um, mechanical utopia, and the planet we saw was more of similar to a prehistoric Earth. So did the so this was probably another a little plot hole that was in there that the Maximals didn't really explain their home planet. They said they were the both the past and future of the Autobots, but that's something that wasn't really delved into.
I don't think they cared anything about the original canon.
Maybe not. It's this is just like another little plot hole that I noticed that we didn't talk about in the first one, but Yeah, it was, something that, I was wondering about because we talked about how the, Maximals got their, beast forms in this, and that wasn't really discussed, and apparently if this, home planet they had, which apparently I guess wasn't Cybertron, how it had, um, life on, that planet that was basically the same or similar to, prehistoric Earth. Also, I did, go through the, a list of the characters from the movie. Airraiser's beast form was a peregrine falcon. If they just
Thank you
added
for that.
Yep, they just added fire breath to her. But,
I'm not gonna complain. It was awesome.
oh, yeah, I'm not either. It's just
That's one of the
one.
few additions they added that was actually good.
Yeah, and, yeah, it was just that I wanted to make sure we got that clear before we really delved into this next discussion. Um, yeah, like, going into, like, each of the, Maximals, since we didn't really to explore much of their characters really other than Optimus Primal and Airraiser, we didn't
I
get to
thought we
see
touched
much
them
of
all.
them.
I thought
Huh?
we touched them all except for the cheetah.
We didn't in the movie, we didn't really get to they didn't really explore their individual personalities, quirks, interests,
There's really
history.
not much to talk about with that though. They didn't really show much.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. They didn't really give us as much on the Maximals as they should have. I mean, granted, like you mentioned in the last recording, this is probably like the setup to like what's going to continue on. It's just I thought we would have seen a little bit more of each of them.
Why is it always that two is either the worst or the best? Like, and then that's replaced by three.
It depends on like the writing and everything. Like certain films, like sometimes they follow up really well, others they don't. It varies.
I can name probably a lot of films that were two was the best one in the franchise off the top of my head. Probably, I'll list a few of them if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna put Terminator 2 up there. Judgment Day, that's arguably one of the best films of all time. Shrek 2, a lot of people consider that one the best in the Shrek franchise. There was another one on top of my head, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Puss in Boots 2, really
Yeah,
good movie.
The Last Wish. Yeah,
Yeah, saw that 3 times in the theater, if I remember correctly.
I didn't get to see it in theater. I had to wait till later till it was till I could see it. But yeah, definitely better. Yeah, it's
Across the
probably.
Spider Verse, which just came out, excellent film by the way.
Mm,
And it's just, it always is either the Curse of Two or it's because when you have a film like from the original Sam Raimi trilogy, when you have a film like Spider-Man 2 that was considered the comic book movie until, of course, Dark Knight, which was ironically the second in that Batman franchise. I can't believe I forgot that one.
yeah, I mean, it happens. Like some movies, it's difficult to say which one is better. In
Some
the
it's easy though.
Yeah, like in the, Kung Fu Panda film franchise 2 is arguably the best, definitely has the most personal
It's hands
and
down the best.
it's definitely got the most personal and, most dangerous, villain in it, or at least main villain. I still like Tai Lung the best, but yeah, Shen is probably the most personal, villain to Poe.
He's voiced by Gary Oldman. What's not to love?
Yeah, and Ian McShane, voiced, Tai Lung, but we're not gonna those can be like future, videos,
Yeah, believe me, we'll get to Kung Fu Panda 3's train wreck in our time.
but apparently 4, they're gonna be doing some, really, wild stuff too. But yeah,
Can't you just let a franchise rest in peace?
I don't know, but it might
Let's
get
get
into
off. We're
something
getting off
interesting.
topic.
Yeah, yeah, but this is, but, back to the, movie in, retrospect. Um, yeah, with the Maximals, I was, hoping, like I said, get more into their personalities, at least kind of some, because like in the, some of the other Transformers movies, we delved into like certain Transformer personalities, like Optimus Prime being the wise, benevolent, and honorable like leader he is, like being arguably one of the best leaders in fiction. We saw Bumblebee, the loyal, quirky, and but still brave bot he is. We saw, like you mentioned, Jazz in as one of the main Autobots. Him being the second in command, like having his own unique personality and everything. It's just here we didn't really get delve into that too much, except for like the
Well, he's
Autobot.
called Mirage for starters, as I touched on in the last recording.
Yeah, we saw more of the personality of the Autobots more than we did the Maximals. I mean, it's good that they did delve more into the or delve into the Autobots personalities and everything. we didn't want them to be like, just dry, blank, characters. We need them to have a little bit of complexity to them. 'Cause we didn't really see much of that with the Maximals. Like,
Comedy in this movie was really hit or miss.
yeah, I mean, there was, it had a lot of, some of the main ones that has to do with, Mirage and his body parts, which ones, like, were most, uh, in reference to Noah, but no, like, with the Maximals, it's like, you can, like, tell, like, should be able to, like, understand their, personalities and, like, I guess you could say in, like, reference to the beast forms that they have, because like, the whole animal spirit thing is really, complex and, powerful. I know some people like to, like, do, like, those, little, quizzes they think is just for fun and everything, but they like animal totems is definitely very powerful and deeply meaningful to, like, various cultures around the world and throughout history and still today. But in, like, reference to the Transformers, like, they do, like, give, some insight into the characters, like Optimus Primal, him being a gorilla. Gorillas are not generally very peaceful and loving, but when it comes to, like, their families or themselves being threatened, they definitely, do stand up for themselves and for others, which is really referencing, Optimus Primal to a T. Um, Cheetor, unfortunately, he was one of the characters we didn't get to see much of, like, both of the cat thing, and they're, like, he's impulsive, a little hot-headed, kind of reckless, but, well-meaning, and him, like, really wanting, like, he's, like, more of, like, thinking on his feet or, like, delving more into the, action and thinking out a little bit, like the whole, like, cats being restless thing. Um, are Yeah, there's just some examples like that, like with, like Air Razor, she had, like, like, more of a bigger picture point of view than the others. She, saw things in a more, like,
Broad perspective.
yeah, she saw things more, differently than others because both metaphorically and literally, she had a bigger, point of view than the others did. And, with the Rhinox, that's a little bit of an, bit can be kind of bit iffy because rhinos, they're kind of like, restless because of their, poor eyesight. They basically, charge at anything that gets in in the way that they don't recognize, so they can be kind of ill-tempered. But with Rhinox in the series, he's supposed to be, very, kind, very patient, and wise in his own right, and, like, so it was a little bit different from the animal that he took the form of, but being the big protector and everything, that does definitely fit him. So, it's just those, like, delving into, like, those characters that was something that I was hoping we would, like, see a little bit more of, but we did see some of the, like, the animal parts of the, Maximals, both in their beast forms and in their robot forms, because we saw them fight and, like, interact with others, both the antagonists and protagonists in both forms, because we, saw them, like, in even in their, robot forms, you could definitely hear, like, some of them, like, growling and snarling and roaring when they're in their fights. It's just like, you could see and sort of feel the difference between the Maximals and the, Autobots and how their personalities and, like, interactions with others because of, how their characters are based in their different ways, because I think I said in the like I said in the other recording, the Maximals are both machines and, beasts, so they're definitely that, balance between them, but unfortunately, we didn't really they didn't dive much into, this one.
Yeah. I mean, in particular, I'm going to touch back on the animal spirituality for a moment.
Mhm.
By the way, not sponsored by that drink company.
Oh, it's just the place I work at.
It was a joke, dude.
Yeah, I got you,
Like,
sorry.
not
Go ahead.
sponsored by the logo, which hopefully will be on my shirt with a camera.
Hmm,
Touch back on the animal spirituality for a second. There's a lot that has been done in fiction with that really well.
yeah.
And you think of really good examples, like Assassin's Creed was pretty good at that. 3 in particular did a pretty good job with it with the DLC.
Yeah, that, I think the assassins are more representative, like, by birds of prey and everything, like eagles, hawks, and falcons,
You know
though,
which
like,
one I'm talking about in particular, though?
they, the, tyranny of Washington, I think.
Yes, the Tyranny of King Washington, which was really cool alternate universe. It's a great what if story that's technically canon.
I didn't like how they were like, the animal spirits were, like, corrupting, Connor. That wasn't what I really liked. I
That's not
thought
what was going on to my knowledge.
it's like, his mother talked about how ceremony or, like, the action of taking the tea leaves or something, like, would, like, mess with the person's, like, mind and spirit, and that's was what was happening in it, I think, but no, it like,
It still saved the day.
I mean, it did, it's just that it, like, apparently, like, corrupted his character, so I just
I didn't see that personally, so
maybe I'm misunderstanding it, it's just was my perspective of it, but
yeah,
no.
because you needed those forms to win the day multiple times. So I really don't see. Maybe, like you said, you're diving too deeply into it. I honestly didn't notice that. If anybody played Assassin's Creed 3 in the comments, since I've only played 1 and 2, three's on my want list, please hit us up.
It's it was just like them, like, being physically and spiritually empowered by these animal spirits, the wolf, the eagle, and the bear in the different ways, it's just like, it empowered him physically, but it, like, seemed to alter him mentally, which but, like, that's maybe my misunderstanding, but
It was a high risk reward thing because it cuts your health the longer you use it, so it makes you use it sparingly. It's a strategic thing.
yeah, and also, like, I think that people said, like, in, like, the Connor himself, rather than being represented more of, like, instead of, like, an eagle, he was more like, represented by a wolf because, the English name he was given means, like, lover of wolves or hounds, and you could see, like, a bit with that, um, Mohawk, heritage, and I can't remember exactly the name of the tribe,
It was the
Kai.
Mohawk, I believe. It was the
Yeah,
Mohawk,
it's
I
just
believe.
like, yeah, it's just their tribe's name that they have other than Mohawk. I can't remember. Sorry, I'm trying to pronounce it right. I just
I love how this part two review is going into Assassin's Creed
yeah,
3.
we should get back to it. Yeah, but that's just like a reference, like the animal spirit thing and totems are really important. Like they like represent your truest and deepest being, like who you truly are, and all your senses. It's just that was something that I thought like was really connected to these characters, in a different way. Because with Tigertron, he explored in the series like them being both beast and machine. We see like them being really also really defined by the animal that they chose. Whether or not you really choose your animal spirit or totem or not is another discussion thing, but it's not something I really understand very well because this is a lot of like spirituality and like understanding of the physical and spiritual planes of our of existence, which I'm not very very knowledgeable of. But seeing these characters supposedly needing to be defined or connected to the animal that they transform into was something that I was wish to have been explored more in this movie, but hopefully they get into in the other movies.
One more movie, since apparently this franchise is ending with the next one.
Well, it's unfortunately because like since apparently the other like Maximals are dead, I guess we won't see the
Quote
others.
unquote.
Yeah, it's just Air Razor said she was the last of them, so I don't know.
Yeah,
And
look how long that lasted.
yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, we they killed her off, and unfortunately, a really
For
horrific
now.
and tragic way. Yeah, maybe she'll be brought back, but part of me kind of doubts because she kind of she might be like how Jazz was in the Bayverse movie. She had her appearance, but she was killed off and never brought back.
Well, those were different universes. Jazz got physically ripped in half. She didn't have that happen to her.
Yeah, I know. It's just that apparently, like what Scourge did, I think like he corrupted like her programming and her physical form, and Optimus Primal had to mercy kill her. So
They're making the rules as they go, so
yeah, I mean I don't know. I mean I could be completely wrong about this. So maybe they'll do something we don't expect, or go completely in another way, or like undo certain things that happen in this movie.
Transformers 3 Electric Boogaloo.
Maybe it's a lot this is just like discussing this movie and some speculation for like what's in the future. I mean, because
Well,
we're
we
not
know it's in the future and it's terrifying.
yeah, it's this movie. I mean, it can go in a lot of way go in different directions and definitely with they definitely need to explore the Maximals more. I know I keep talking about the Maximals, it's just that like you said in the last first part of part one recording that they were definitely side characters, pushed into side characters in this movie, unfortunately.
I mean, I honestly have a bad feeling that this film is going to be like Terminator 3, a film that's good in its own right. It's just coming off the heels of something that set such a really good bar.
Yeah, it's
Maybe we're judging it based on what we want to see as opposed to what it is.
Yeah, I mean, like, each of us has, like, our own, like, desire to see something in a specific way or portrayed in a certain way, and, like, certain things can't always be completely how we want. It's just that you can be, like, limited or, like, have, like, only a specific certain options, like, you can have in, like, a project you're creating. It's just that you just, try to, like, understand, like, where different possibilities could go and, like, understand, like, the characters you're portraying and
Yeah.
knowing what you can do with them.
I'm gonna get off topic for a moment, but a really good example of this is the Sonic the Hedgehog movies that have been coming out. Did you see those, by the way?
No, 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 I haven't, sorry.
Like Sonic One was just, I want to say, sorry for this in advance comment section. I thought Sonic One was just passable. Like it didn't do really what I was hoping it would do. And I remember Jim Carrey, unpopular opinion, he really annoyed the living crap out of me in that movie as Robotnik.
Mm.
I laughed legitimately at one joke in that movie. I'm pretty sure everyone knows what it is. If you don't, I'll save that. Maybe that's something we can cover another day.
Yeah, I mean
Sonic,
yeah,
you
go
go ahead.
ahead.
Sonic 2 did everything I wanted the first one to. My friend who saw the movie with me, he's like, how can you like this? I hated everything living that wasn't Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails. I'm like, it gave me everything I wanted. It gave me lore, gave me more drama. I thought the human characters were funny. They were over the top stupid, but at least it was funny.
Yeah, it's, when you're focusing, like, when the movie is supposed to be about a certain group of characters, it's, you can go with it in different ways, especially when you have, like, other, like, background or supporting characters there.
Give this
Um,
one credit too. The human characters were in it a lot less than they were in the first one.
yeah, it's just, in this movie, it felt like in some ways the humans and the Autobots were both like main and supporting characters in different ways, while the Maximals seemingly had like a main like a character role at the beginning of the movie. But they were pushed to like at most supporting characters, even
None
if
of them
that.
really had an arc, I don't think either.
Huh?
None of them really had an arc either.
No, no. I mean, we had like Noah. He had his arc. Optimus
I
had
meant
his.
more the Maximals in general.
Oh, no, yeah, sorry, I meant, like, in, like, comparison, like, Noah
Okay,
had
I'm
his
sorry.
arc. No, it's my bad, I should have said that clearly. Noah had his arc, Optimus had his arc, Mirage had his own arc in his own way. It's just that, yeah, it was so-so, but, like, the, Maximals didn't really have that much, so the closest I would say would be either Optimus or AirRaiser, but even then, it really wasn't much at
Primal
all.
had, I feel Primal had more depth to him, and he barely got any screen time.
Yeah, I mean, because he's the leader of the Maximals, he arguably needed the most, like, screen time and, character, relevance. It's just that even then, it didn't feel like they didn't do much with him.
I feel like for a 2 hour time, like if the movie clocks in at just over 2 hours or just under, this was the problem I have with this one compared to Bumblebee, which was the first one. Bumblebee didn't really have a lot of action scenes. It spent a lot of time building the character. I can think of maybe three big fights in the movie, like the opening fight, one of the first 10 minutes, which is really small, only goes for like 3 or 4 minutes. Then there's the final climax fight, which was a lot of fun.
Mm.
So it's like you have a good, I want to say, hour and maybe 15 minutes of the characters, then you have maybe 30 minutes of fighting combined.
Yeah, I think what they I mean, I know, like, films get a lot of, uh, uh
Backlash.
no, well, no, it's like, they get a lot of, like, um, audience, viewing and everything. It's just I think that in contrast to like the Bayverse movies, this probably should have been actually this series probably should have been like a TV series rather than movie franchise because with a TV series they could have like explored more the characters more in depth. But
It's honestly the thing with a lot of stuff that gets adapted to film. It's like, why don't you have a series so we get to know the characters instead of just like in 2 hours?
yeah, that's why certain movies don't do as well as others because
That's like that's like the Animorphs debate right now when it got adapted to graphic novels. Because there's rumors they're going to get a show or a movie, and the fans are really split. And then another YouTuber who I saw a good video on, he said, "Make it a series because it gives you more time." The original books had like 54 books. You can't really do that in 2 hours.
and unfortunately, in like the live action show they originally did, they didn't do
Budget.
they didn't do much. I mean, like they barely transformed into animals, but
It was the budget. It was low budget.
yeah, But yeah, with here, like, I know, like, their Transformers are more, I guess, well known for their movies rather than their shows in some ways, but, like, I said in some ways, like, because Beast one reason Beast Wars was so effective was because it was a series. You got to explore each of the characters in
How
their
many
own
seasons
unique
did it
way.
have?
Huh?
How many seasons did it have?
Uh, I actually can't remember, but, like,
It's like 4 or 5, wasn't it?
yeah, maybe it, but the show unfortunately went in some directions, both with in Beast Wars and Beast Machines, in ways that really weren't as like compelling or as like
Beast
meaningful as
Machines
the
got
others.
really dark to my understanding.
Oh yeah, it did like bringing the organic back, living organic material back to Cybertron and getting it to meld with the machine, which it also like it really gave a new direction that I was kind of uncertain about with Megatron. Him being completely against being organic and just wanted to be totally machine and everything.
He's
But
always the villain. Are you really that surprised?
yeah, it's just I mean they did barely even did like references to like his original like a character personality and everything. He just completely, like, did a big change that I wasn't as wasn't as, excited about, but with this movie, with the characters, if this had been, like, a series, obviously, it would, uh, we'd s
They would have had a big budget, arguably, for it. So
yeah, I mean,
look at Jack Ryan. That's a film that's made. That's a series that's made almost exclusively for film. Yet they're doing it as a series.
yeah, it's just, I mean, obviously, with this TV series, it would have, it would take more time and everything, and it would like spread out the episodes and everything over time. But like with it, you could have like explored each of the characters in like their own unique, compelling ways. But I guess I don't know if the writers didn't want to put as much emphasis on the Maximals or not, or maybe they did, and they just didn't realize they weren't doing as much with them.
Or it could
Um,
have been a time like a timeline to get the movie done.
It's yeah, it's just it feels like they I guess didn't understand like they what they were putting into this movie because as the title is Rise of the Beast, it the main focus should have been on the Maximals, but they, as you said, pushed them in the side characters. So
I
they did,
understand we didn't see any of the other Autobots in the first one, but it kind of should have been the other way around. We know the Autobots well enough. We don't know the Maximals.
yeah. And like, I'm not saying the Autobots aren't important or anything. They still need to have relevance in the movie. It's
How
just
many
that,
movies have they had dedicated to them that we know those characters?
yeah, it's just with the Maximals, this is something that some people don't know about. I
I
mean,
didn't know
so
really anything.
yeah, and they needed to give like more importance and like meaning to these characters because while they are similar to the Autobots in their own ways, but they're still their own unique set of characters with their own struggles and beliefs and like story arcs and with what they experience and everything. Because the with Beast Wars, we saw these characters trying to like understand like the world like they became to like understanding like the their mix of like organic and metallic like anatomy and like
Yeah, I know what you mean.
it's like and also, like, exploring, like, what it means to both be a machine and also an animal, and, like, what that means to each of them in their own way, but that we didn't see any of that.
It feels like an example of something that was rushed. Like you could feel the studio like putting in a lot of notes. A good example of that like is Jurassic Park 3, which had a heavy problem. They moved the premiere date up, so they had to shoot a lot of stuff really quickly. Like if you watch the behind the scenes, they went out of their way to make. A lot of people will disagree with me on this, but Jurassic Park 3 used a lot of actual animatronic stuff and really good practical effects that aren't really used anymore.
Hmm.
Everyone's always like, "Well, oh, this movie sucks," blah blah blah. I'm like, guys, they moved the deadline up. They didn't have as big a budget as the first two. The director had never done a film like that before. And that was a good director. He's done Rocketeer. He did Captain America: The First Avenger. So this is clearly a good, talented director, but he just didn't have the time or money he needed, probably.
Yeah, and, like, the, they explored certain things that could have been interesting, they just didn't do it in as many compelling ways, and, like, they it also probably didn't help with, the, paleontologist, the main one behind the series, Jack
Okay,
Horner. He was pushing, like, certain, like, ideas and everything. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a paleontologist on a dinosaur series. You need to have at least one, or one that really knows what they're talking about. And Jack Horner has some had some interesting and definitely compelling theories. I mean, he was really got into the whole like dinosaurs being really loving and
Jack Horner, you said?
like Jack Horner, like he's the paleontologist behind the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World series, the main one. He
Oh,
like
you mean the book or the writer?
no, no, the paleontologist behind the movie series is the
Okay,
main.
I thought you meant the writer. I'm like, that's Michael Crichton.
Yeah, yeah, that's my bad. No, Jack Horner, he's pushed some things in the movies and everything that kind of like messed up with the story and everything. But I'm not saying it wasn't like he had some good things, like the whole dinosaurs actually being nurturing parents, which is a good thing they introduced into the franchise. But like when you have certain people or like pushing certain things that maybe don't always like meld well with the story and everything, or like maybe cause like an alternate change that some people don't really see or understand. It can sometimes mess with the flow of the story. Sometimes it can do good stuff. It just depends on like what they introduce to the story and everything.
Have you read the original book?
Um, no, I haven't, but I know like some of the stuff that happened in it. I know like in the book, John Hammond wasn't the charismatic and caring man he was in
Good
the
God, the
movies.
book is sadistic at points.
Yeah, I mean I know in his death in the he died in the first book in a way that referenced that's basically what happened to another to an antagonist in the Lost World. But
We don't speak of that child.
I
That
mean
being the Lost World.
I like the movie. It's not definitely not the worst to me. It's just that
I can't
it's
put it as the worst, but it's right behind Dominion, in my opinion.
well, I mean, each of us have our own perspectives on this, and I get why you say that, but to Transformers: Rise of the Beast, it
This
like
review's all over the place, guys, but we're just trying to make a point.
yeah, sorry about that. Like referencing certain like other like stories and everything, it's like you can like while each story is while each story is unique in its own way, we see like sometimes we can draw understanding or
Why is this working in one film but not in this one when it's doing the
yeah,
same
yeah,
thing every time?
exactly. Yeah, I couldn't find the words exactly. Thank you, Nick.
All right.
Um, like you can draw inspiration or understanding from other stories and everything, like why something works in one story but doesn't work in another. In this movie, like when you have like main characters or what should have been main characters, like pushed to the side in a way that's not giving them as much relevance as others, does not help the story, and especially not when it's supposed to be, or like when a certain like part of the story is supposed to be about them instead of another group of characters, which has more relevance than they arguably should have or should have had.
I think this film honestly had a lot of the same problems that Men in Black 2 had. Yeah, like I'm gonna touch briefly. I think Rise of the Beast had a lot of problems Men in Black 2 had, which is you take them arguably the best part, which is Tommy Lee Jones' relationship with his wife, and then you just completely cut that out of the sequel.
Yeah, it's when you when you have certain characters that are supposed to be one of the most relevant parts of a story, but you push them to the side and like favor of others, which still need to be like explored and everything. But
They
when
need to
you
be
like,
good though.
huh?
They need to be at least good characters.
Yeah, yeah. But when you have like the main characters that are supposed to be the main characters, but you push them aside and give like relevance to other stuff, which does need to have its place in the movie. It's just that when you shift the focus away from something that doesn't fit well with the harmony and flow of the story, it can really mess everything up. Well, and that's why, like I said, you can enjoy this movie. It definitely has its good parts here and there. It's not awful. It's just that when you have something that isn't, I guess you could say, as defining to the story, or what should be defining to the story, but is definitely not as like relevant within what's created, it can really mess everything up.
It's a really big missed opportunity when you have a film that's supposed to be one thing. Sometimes, rarely that works the way you think it's like. It rarely works in a positive way when that happens.
Yeah, that's definitely why I think the show Beast Wars is definitely much better than this movie. I mean, explores the characters and storylines and everything. It does have its iffy and not so good moments here and there, but the flow
It
and
was
like
it was a cartoon. It was in the '90s. They didn't know to have the writing yet.
yeah, but the writing in the show was definitely better in this. I mean,
No,
it
what I
had
was
its.
saying.
Go ahead.
What I'm saying though is when you have a show like that, you have multiple seasons to get the writing tuned in. Like you have Batman the animated series, you have Transformers Beast Wars, you have other shows that took years to get the writing down to the point where it would be perfect.
Yeah, 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 true. Yeah, I didn't really explore it off. Thank you for pointing that out. It's, yeah, it's just when you, like, I think, when you like, with this movie, I thought it could have, like, learned from the example of the show, which it really needed to, and, like, when you, sometimes don't always, like, learn from, like, learn from both the good and the bad and in between from things that have been done, and especially connected to what you're creating, you don't really, explore or, like, draw inspiration from them or, like, give your own unique take, but that is still, like, true to what you to the universe that you're creating. It can really, like, give things a, I guess you could say um, a a partial, like,
Understanding.
exploration. Yeah, sorry, I struggled with, the words there. But yeah, a partial understanding that isn't really what it needed to be.
Like even with films like The Hunchback of Notre Dame, even though they changed the book around clearly, and I've read the original book by the way, so I can speak on this. At least it still flowed. I mean, everyone either loves or hates the comedic relief of the film, the gargoyles, but at least they tried to at least work through the problems because there are scenes where you could clearly tell the editors, or excuse me, the animators wanted to do a lot of really good stuff, and in other scenes, to quote a critic I really love, you feel like they put it in the movie just because they probably got a lot of notes on it. They weren't really as inspired.
But yeah, it's, things like this that, it has its good moments, it's just when, like, writers, creators don't always, like, really explore the relevance and the,
Or
writing
they
into
agree
certain
on it,
characters. Huh?
or they don't agree on it, and like
Yeah,
one
yeah,
side wants to tell the
yeah,
story one way.
it can really, like, really, make things, it doesn't always live up to what it can or should be. So, I mean, while this definitely, is a
It's not the
is
worst.
no, it's not the worst, and it's not, it's still an entertaining movie that you can enjoy in some ways. Yeah, it can be depending on the moments. Transformers: Rise of the Beast did not really, live up to what it should have been. But let us
Maybe
know
that's
what
his
you
biggest crime was that it's just okay. It's kind of like Waterworld,
hmm,
which was, I think you know that film, right?
which one?
Waterworld.
I didn't actually watch that.
My my father watched this one, and I've seen a lot of people talk about Waterworld. It was at the time the most expensive movie ever made, and it bombed horribly. I think it had like a 200 something $1 million budget. It only made like 68 million back or something like that.
Gotcha.
And people were always wondering why did it bomb, especially with another critic I love. Shout out to the nostalgia critic by the way on this because he reviewed this movie a few years ago.
Hmm,
He said, "Why is the movie bad? Because it's got some really good technical effects. They actually did a lot of stuff practically,
right.
had good effects, and for what it is, it's just a straight up action film. Even though the leads are boring and the story has a million holes, why is it considered one of the worst films ever made?" And he put simply, I think its biggest crime is because it's just at the end of the day a basic shoot 'em up action film.
Mm,
It's just boring, and when you have the most expensive movie made at the time, you're expecting something more than that.
yeah. And with Transformers: Rise of the Beast, it had its moments. It's just it did not really it wasn't the
Single
story that
ending.
it wasn't the story what we were all hoping it would be. But let us know what you think in the, comments below. We'd like to, hear what you have to say about the movie, its characters, its plot lines, and, everything about it that you all think is really important and defining to it.
Can I say
Um,
one thing real quick before we end
go
this?
go ahead.
I want to bring this up real quick. It's kind of like the problem that the movie AI had back in the 90s, where the writing team, I think you know the story behind AI, right?
Um, at the moment, I can't remember if for certain or not.
Stanley Kubrick was the one who wanted to produce the movie. It was his idea. He wanted Steven Spielberg to direct the movie because Kubrick himself felt like he couldn't bring the heartfelt elements to the movie. Spielberg said, like, no, I can't pull off the edgy stuff that you want in the script. Why don't I produce it and you direct it? And while they went back and forth with each other, like honestly as friends, it was friendly from what I understand. Kubrick finally said, "You know what? You're right. After I finish directing my next film, I'll direct this as my magnum opus." Then Kubrick sadly passed away before they could start filming the movie. They had everything pretty much. I think they had the script done at that point. So Spielberg, like, is said to himself, basically, "This is my friend's movie. I want to do it the way he originally intended." But again, he kind of melded his own style into the movie, which was really hit or miss. And then there's the infamous ending, which I could go on for 20 minutes about from everyone talking about this. Everyone's always like, oh, Spielberg put that in. It's so sappy. If we look at the notes, it was like actually what Kubrick wanted. Nobody wanted to believe it because it didn't sound like something he would do. But it's just like he wanted to try something different. So that's why it didn't work. It comes out of this movie as well. At least it tried something different.
Yeah,
You can clearly tell it was fighting for a lot of different things. And I think that's his biggest crime was it just couldn't settle on anything.
yeah, yeah. But you all let us know what you think in the comments below. I would like to thank my friend Nate Thomas again for joining me in this movie discussion. I look forward to doing more videos with him and other friends I have in the future.
What do you
Thank
guys
you again, Nate.
recommend?
Thank you again for joining me. Um, Again, let us know what you think in the comments below. I hope you all like this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'd all like to hear what y'all have to say. Once again, we hope you like
Hopefully
this
the
video.
beasts.
Huh? Go ahead.
I'm screwing up your address. Sorry, I
No,
was
it's
going to
fine.
say,
It's fine. Go ahead.
hopefully the beasts will roar in the near future.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully. Once again, we hope you like this video, and thank you for watching.